Have you ever caught yourself saying, I start things, but I never finish them? And every time you say it, it feels like more proof that something is wrong with you. And I want to challenge that today. Hi, I'm Amelia McHenry I'm the founder of Dodana Coaching. And I help women in life transitions find their big dream and create the roadmap to make it all happen. When we don't finish something, we don't allow ourselves to actually feel proud about it. Instead, we build evidence. We say, see, I didn't follow through with that again. And over time, that becomes your identity. But here's the truth that story didn't start with you, it came from expectations, environments, and people who needed you to stay in a certain box. Family, friends, teachers, authority figures, and sometimes random folks just walking down the street with a really loud opinion. Those stories aren't yours. You just picked them up along the way and thought, well, that's the way it's supposed to be. When you begin reflecting on your journey, something shifts. You start to see that those stories kept you from doing what you were meant to do. You see where fear starts showing up, where you pulled back, where you chose to fit in instead of stand out. And you also start to see something else. You see where you learned something, where you found out what you did or didn't like, what you were interested in, or realized it wasn't what you thought. I actually had a hard lesson in being able to allow this learning to happen. So, my daughter was great at basketball in high school. She had so much fun with it. And I was really excited because, scholarships and things. Right? But the point is that she had fun with it and she relished in it. She loved going to practice and she loved going to the games and she loved doing all those things, right? But then her coach got another opportunity. And so she left that school and went somewhere else. And the new coach that came in had really different ideas on how to motivate a team, on how to work with the team, on what the goals were for the team, and all that idea of what this new coach had didn't align with my daughter. And so she came to me and she asked if she could quit. And I was at a point in my life where, commitment, you made a commitment, you stick with it. So I handed her that line. I handed her that story of, no, you have a work ethic. I'm raising you to be a work ethic, and you've made a big commitment. So you stick to it. The team is depending on you. You're in the middle of the year, you stick to it, right? So she shrunk away and she started doing everything in her power to get thrown off the team because she didn't want to be there anymore. It wasn't in alignment with who she was, who she wanted to be, right? So her work stuff suffered. Her schoolwork suffered. She didn't do her homework. She started doing all the things. And finally, the coach was like, "You're a great player. Love having you. And your schoolwork, you can't, you're failing. You can't be on the team when you're failing." So she got kicked off. And it was at that moment that I realized that she was doing the right thing for her, right? Not what is the work ethic wrong, not what you're supposed to do, but what was right for her. That coach wasn't right for her. It didn't fit, it didn't align. She wasn't having fun. She didn't want to go to practices, all that stuff, right? So that new environment wasn't good for her. And now she had kind of a bad taste in her mouth about the sport. And that one little story of you have a work ethic, you committed, you follow through, you end it, you go through the whole thing until it's complete, right? That one little story killed off an avenue of enjoyment for her. She still plays, but not like she used to, right? She'll go and get a pickup game or whatever, but it's not the thing that's a part of her life anymore like it was. And it got me to realizing, thinking back on this story, it's you realize that sometimes you don't finish things because you've already gotten what you needed. You got the message of what works or what doesn't work. And so when that happens, it's okay to let the thing go, to let the commitment go, to let I said I was going to do this, but you know what? Now I'm not. Because some things shifted, some things no longer aligned. And you're allowed to change. You're allowed to make a decision. You're allowed to go, I thought it was going to be one thing. Now it's not what I thought it was. So I am backing away from the commitment. I am backing away from what I said I was going to do because I have more information now and it's not there. Right? So you can do that. And the thing is as we're looking back, as we're reviewing, as we're going through, or as we're getting into things, sometimes fear and shame show up, right? And fear doesn't always look like panic. Sometimes it looks like, oh, I'll just do that later. Or, oh, I'm not ready for that yet. Right? And shame, when that shows up, that's about belonging. That's about wanting to stay connected, not to stand out too much. So we start to shrink so that we can stay at the same level as the people that are around us, as what we see as normal, as comfortable. And we shrink not because we're incapable. We shrink because it feels safer. So when you stop and really look and reflect and take that time to take a look at what's going on, what has gone on that journey, you get to step out of the journey. You get to step out of the situation and you get to become the observer. And you get to ask yourself, what is this teaching me? What did it teach me? If it's the past, like if you're reflecting back, what did it teach me? What things did I get from it? There may have been things that took from you, but what did you get from it? Because you'll get something from all the experiences that you go through. You learn things through all the experiences, right? And you also get to ask yourself, what doesn't fit anymore, right? What doesn't fit? The emotions, the thought processes, the people, the places, the things that just don't, they just, they were good there, but they don't fit anymore. You grew, you learned, you expanded. It's time for bigger britches. And when you get to ask yourself these things, when you really take a look at and contemplate from the observer of like, what does this character need? Everything changes because you no longer look at your past as failure. You look at it as preparation. It's like, oh, I had to break the eggs so that I could whisk them up so that I could have a really good omelet. And this is the egg breaking part, and this is the whisking up part. And now we get to make the omelet. It's preparation. You get to make the choice of what you want to do with all this information. You're no longer stuck in the story. You start becoming the author. And if things don't work for you, if things don't work in favor of the lead character, which is you, as the author, back up here, right? Here's the character, you come up here, and as the author, you get to change the parameters of the story. You get to say, that rule we had back in chapter 15, that rule doesn't work in chapter 30, and it doesn't work in chapter 50. You get to change those parameters because you are the author. You get to change the stories. But those rules worked at that time. And nothing you do or did along the way is wasteful. It's not a waste of time. That side quest you went on, guess what? You got this particular nugget of gold out of that. That side quest you went on, there was a nugget of silver there. That side quest over here, that's where you got the protective shield. So that when you came up on this monster over here on this side quest, you were able to take care of it and able to survive. Right? Nothing you have done is a waste. Every step, every start, every stop, it all brought you here to this moment. And when you start to see it that way, you start to move a little differently. You begin to walk with confidence, head held high, knowing what story you're starting to create in your own life. Are there going to be snags along the way? Yeah. But they're there to teach you, to expose those older stories, those older rules, so that you can go, wait a minute, that story doesn't work here. That rule doesn't work here. I can change that. I can do that. And you get to build strength along the way so that you can reach that big dream, that thing that you really want. Or at least you can get really close to it. There are some big dreams that in reality, when you bring it down here, they're maybe a little far-fetched. Like, I am probably never going to make it to the moon. But you know what? There was a team not that long ago that went around and saw the moon in a new way. They saw the dark side of the moon, a piece of the moon that we've never seen before. Those people, they made it to the moon. And maybe, just maybe, you can be a part of that journey, right? And that reminds me of a story of JFK, right? And he walked into NASA and he said, and he saw a janitor and he asked him, he's like, well, what do you do here? And the janitor stopped and he looked at him and said, I'm helping men get to the moon. He's sweeping up floors. But if he didn't do that, the floors would be dirty, people would be tripping over things, and they wouldn't have the space and the crucible to do what they do to get to the moon, right? So if you'd like to go deeper on this subject, I've written a blog that walks you through this process of reflecting and becoming the author and doing the things in a step-by-step way. You'll find the link in the description below. And if you've liked this information that I've given you today, hit that like and subscribe button. Yeah, baby. And you'll get more content on going for your big dream because that's what I do, right? This life is a journey of adventure. And you get to choose if you live the same day over and over again, or if you work towards something that excites you and brings you joy to your life, right? Reflecting back and getting an idea of how far you've come, where you are now, and looking forward to where you want to go is the first step in bringing your big dream just that much closer, right? So until next time, I want you to keep your eyes on the horizon, your hands on the wheel, and your foot on the gas, baby. Let's do this. I'll see ya.